Welcome to Top Advisor Marketing, where you will learn how to become a prolific online influencer, attract more ideal clients, and grow your practice. Brought to you by Top Advisor Podcasting, a done-for-you podcasting solution built just for trusted advisors. And now, your co-hosts of Top Advisor Marketing, Kirk Lowe and Matt Halloran.
Hello and welcome to another Top Advisor Marketing podcast. Today, we have somebody who has succeeded exponentially in the trenches. Not only is he an advisor and a broker and a general agent, but he is also the president and founder of the Taylor Method, which is what we're going to talk about today. The Taylor Method is a proven way for you to truly grow your practice based off of real, tangible results. Eszylfie Taylor is our guest today. Eszylfie, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Tell us about what this Taylor Method is and give us a little bit of history if you don't mind.
Sure. So I've been an advisor. This is my 19th year in this business. And I started in this industry at 22 years old with one simple, modest goal at that time. That was to become a millionaire by the time I was 25, right? And I figured 3 years was ample time to get there. The challenge is I didn't know how to do it, right? You know, I believed that I could succeed. I had seen publications and read about people who'd had success in the industry, but there was no roadmap laid out for me, if you will. So, I embarked on this journey to reach my goals, and I failed miserably. I mean, I'm on this webinar or this podcast with you rather today, probably one of the biggest failures you've ever had on your show. Right. And that's also why I succeed, right? I was too stubborn to stay down, and I learned and got a little bit better and better. And I'm proud to say I have 19 straight years of growth in this business. So the Taylor Method, if you will, is the culmination of my career's triumphs and failures. By my estimation, I've done something like 20,000 client meetings in my career. Right. So ask me a question I haven't heard before. Give me an objection I haven't heard before. Not going to happen. So I've taken all of these ideas and tools and language and processes that I've created over the years, and I put everything online for fellow advisors to use. So it's carrier agnostic, it's product agnostic, it's all about the process.
Let's talk about, just for fun, because, you kind of made a bold statement that I want you to continue to explain. What sort of things did you do wrong? I love the fact that you've created this, and we're going to dive way more deeply into what the Taylor Method is with all of those different categories, as you had said. But what are some of the things that you realized that after you fell down, you learned from your mistake and didn't make that mistake again? What were some of those mistakes?
Sure. A couple of things. I mean, a lot of it comes down to prospecting, right? You hear this adage, you prospect like you breathe. So it's like, hey, I'm always on. I'm always connecting. I always say I'm shaking hands and kissing babies. What I did a very poor job of doing was qualifying the people that I talked to, right? Meaning I would talk to anybody, anytime, anywhere. I would drive 50 miles north and 50 miles south in the same day if two people said they'd see me. And so what I learned is you're going to make as much money as your clients make. So if your clients are broke and live paycheck to paycheck, you will be broke and live paycheck to paycheck. If your clients make $100,000 a year, you'll make $100,000 a year. If your clients make $1 million a year, you'll make $1 million a year. So all I do, I coined this phrase, prospect up. So I learned if I wanted to make more money and have a bigger impact in my family's life and in the community, I needed to work with more affluent clients. So the $50 a month policy turned into a 200, which turned into a 500, and so forth, and grew and grew and grew, right? So if you think about my progression, right, my first year in the business, I made $55,000. Last year, I made a hair over 4 million. So the next logical progression for me is 100 million, and then I'm just going to shoot for $1 billion. Now, some people might go, wow, I mean, that is a little bit ambitious, don't you think, Eszylfie? Why? Why is that ambitious? I did it once. 50,000 or 4 million is pretty good. So why can't I go from 4 million rather to 100 million or 100 million to $1 billion, right? It's our mind, right? It's these self-limiting beliefs, right? So I always say, those that think they can do something and those that think they cannot do something are both usually right.
Right.
So for me, if you look at it fundamentally, any advisor out there will tell you the paperwork to open an annuity, let's say for 50,000 or 5 million, is exactly the same. To write a life insurance policy on someone for $50 a month or $5,000 a month, the process, the paperwork is exactly the same, right? So we just need to get out of our own way and believe I am capable. I am worthy of of making $5,000, $10,000, $100,000, $200,000 in a deal. Why not? Why not? But most importantly, right, even when you get to that point where, okay, I believe it, then you have to sit down with the people that can actually write the checks.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the pre-qual. Let's talk about you upscaling and prospecting up. How do you do that? Now, I know you've got a program. We're going to talk more about that, and I don't want you to give away your secret sauce, man, but just give us a brief glimpse, please.
Yeah. So the first thing is as it relates. So I built my practice on some fundamental or prospecting, if you want, these fundamental ideas of personal observation, right? So I'm out, I'm out and about. For example, I've got 3 daughters, right? My oldest daughter just turned 12, and I've got twins who are 9, so 3 girls, right? I used to pray to God that he'd send girls to hang all over me, and he took me literally and gave me 3 of them. So be careful what you ask for, right? But I got these 3 girls, right? And so in my house, Friday night's date night, right? So I'll take my girls out and treat them to a movie and dinner and whatnot, open the door for them, show them this is how a man treats a lady, right? And they typically like to go play, they ride their bikes, go run around at the park, the next day, Saturday morning. So we're out running around. My oldest daughter, her name is Naya. So I say, Naya, come here. She says, yeah, daddy. I say, go play with that kid. Her parents look like they have money, right? And bring them over. Why? Right? Because I live in Southern California. I live in an affluent community here in Southern California. It costs a lot to live here. My kids go to private school. That private school costs a lot of money. So if I have to pay that tuition, those other parents need to pay that tuition. That means they're viable prospective clients for me, right? If I looked at my book of business, 2 of my top 20 biggest clients come from my kids' school. Right. So that's this idea of personal observation. So just by organically being around people, right, and in a non-sales environment, but genuinely authentically building relationships, business will come. I had a big birthday party at my house last weekend for my daughter. We had over 100 people at my house, right? You think I got business out of that party? For sure. Why? Because there's no way you're going to put 40 kids, right, and 60 parents, right, in my house, with food and drinks and music, right, for a few hours and not have something good come from that, not have some relationship develop from that. So that's personal observation. That's one. Another thing is referrals, right? Lifeblood of the business, referrals. People say, yeah, Eszylfie, referrals, that's great. And I struggle with referrals. And I go, well, what are you saying? And they go, I don't ask. That's the first part. I don't ask. And I'm like, well, that's the first problem, right? You have to ask. But more specifically, ask for what you want. Stop inferring, right? I'm Eszylfie Taylor, and here are 30 of my business cards, and please tell your friends and family about me. Here's the deal. Nobody cares about your business as much as you, right? So you give somebody 30 business cards. You think they're out in the street passing them out, telling people to call you? No, right? Because everyone's involved in their own life. So I want to be very specific in the way that I ask, right? Who else do you know that I should be speaking to? Right. So if you look at someone that has a child, who else do you know that has a child, just had a child, or just bought a home, right? Or just got a promotion, or retired, or bought a house. Those are all planning triggering events. Because if you ask someone, hey, who do you know who needs life insurance? When's the last time you've been at a cocktail party and people, hey, whoa, before we go on in this conversation, anybody have a good life insurance guy? That doesn't happen. But it's triggering events. Oh, you just had a baby. Oh, you just opened a new company. Wow, you sold your company. Those are all events, right, that I'm looking for. So I'm just, that's how I ask for referrals, but I'm very specific with what I'm looking for. I don't want to infer anything. I don't want to wish, right? So that's the thing as it relates to referrals. And more specifically in prospecting up, if you write a deal on somebody who gives you a check for $200 a month, they're going to refer you naturally to someone who can also do $200 a month, because we congregate around those of a comparable socioeconomic level. So unless you want to stay in that market, you must prospect up. For example, rather than asking for referral straight away, I might ask something like, hey, who do you look up to for their financial accomplishments? Oh, well, my boss, right? And that boss makes 2 times, 3 times what they make. Boom, naturally, I've just upgraded my market. Hey, who do you look up to for their financial accomplishments? Wow, the company owner, right? Founder, it's done very well. Guys, worth 30 million. Awesome. Make an introduction. Now I'm writing the $100,000, $200,000 annual cases. Now I'm rolling over $1 million, you see, because it's not that they're better people. They simply have more money.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm playing all of this through in my brain, and I can hear our audience saying right now, How do you answer the question when it is posed to you, Eszylfie Taylor, what do you do for a living?
So depending on the environment and the length of time I have to have a conversation with someone, I might say to someone, I solve problems. People say, well, what do you mean by that? I'm a financial advisor. So specifically insurance, investments, estate, tax planning, right? But what I mean by being a problem solver is there's nothing that you're going to need that I'm either not going to do or get done for you. You see, I don't sell products. I have no products to sell. I solve problems. So here's my process. I sit down with my clients, identify where you are today, more importantly, figure out where you want to be, and then I'm going to develop an action plan to help you bridge that gap. You see, I know a lot about a little bit. In my space, right, I'm your guy. Mm-hmm. You're going to have needs. You're going to have desires. You're going to have requirements to work with people outside of me. And if that happens, I will bring those appropriate people to the table as well. So what I do with my clients is I insulate the relationship, right? Because I'm not an accountant. I'm not filing the taxes. I'm not a mortgage broker. I'm not doing a loan for them. I'm not a realtor. I'm not going to sell them a house. But I have all of these people in my network so that the web, right, if you will, the client's caught in this web and everything they need comes from me. And that does two things. And when the second part, people don't think about, but yes, I'm insulating the relationship because when my lender talks to my client, what is he saying about Eszylfie Taylor? Wow, Eszylfie referred you. He's amazing. When my estate planning attorney, I bring them to the table. What are they saying? Wow, Eszylfie, you're so lucky to work with him. So I'm getting all this third party edification. And I'm also creating goodwill in the community. So when I go back to that estate planning attorney and go, hey, you helped my client, you set up that trust. Wow, yeah. Hey, when can we get together and talk about your pension plan? What are they going to say? When that lender does the $1 million loan for my client and I call him up and go, hey, are we going to put that life insurance policy on your wife this week or what are we doing? What's he going to say? No? So it's interesting. I live by this adage, givers get. So by putting myself last, by putting my needs last, by putting my clients first, by serving the community first, connecting everyone first, I'm actually getting more. Because I'm strengthening the relationship with my client, right? They believe, wow, this guy really cares about me outside of his own sale, right? And then again, I'm creating goodwill and affinity in my community with other business owners.
Let's talk about the Taylor method now. You've obviously already given us a preview of the level of thoughtfulness and planning and process that you have within this method. So I'm a financial advisor. Number one, how do I get involved with the Taylor method? And then number two, why should I get involved in the Taylor method? Or maybe I should have asked those questions the other way around. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. So the taylormethod.com is an online portal. So taylormethod.com. You have everything you can think of, from audio series to webinars to video series to an ebook. And again, everything that I say, everything that I do, all online. I mean, I've put it all out there and I've held nothing back. There's nothing that I say or do in practice that isn't on that website. It's broken down into these 4 simple parts. The approach. What do I say to get in front of people? How do I keep the sales spigot full? I always say every time you get a new client, you just lost your best prospect. So you must replace them. So the approach is very important. Second, the fact find. When I'm in front of these people, right, what questions do I ask? And that's so important because it doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what you want. It doesn't matter what you would do. It only matters what the client wants, but you need to peel back the layers. I can't tell you how many times advisors say, Eszylfie, what would you sell this client? What would you do? And when I start asking them questions about the client's income and their assets and their objectives, they're like, well, I don't know. Right. And so, again, you're missing the boat there. Third pillar is you have the opportunity. Within the way that clients have answered those questions, where's the opportunity for the sale? Right? I always say, I don't have to be perfect. I just have to be better than what you have. Right? So adding value, filling gaps, right? Opportunity. And lastly, the close, the call to action. What do I say to get people to write checks? So the Taylor method is broken down into these 4 pillars, and we have corresponding videos and audio series and supporting materials for each one of those sections.
One of the things that I know that you believe strongly in is that whole building relationships with people. And we try to do the same thing when it comes to podcasting. So if you don't mind, what I'd like to do is switch gears a little bit and have people get to know you as a human just a little bit more. Because, people like to do business with people they like, trust, and have things in common with. You have proven yourself to be wildly successful. Do you mind if I ask you just a couple of questions about what makes you tick?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. What do you do for fun when you're not working?
Well, I say my office hours are from eyes open, eyes shut, right? But here's the thing. So one of the things I do is yoga is a big part of my life. So I practice yoga, and actually last year I became a yoga instructor. So I also teach yoga as well. And after a class I taught recently, I had a couple of students come up to me and they actually start asking me, well, what do you do? And we start talking, and yoga is actually a great prospecting tool, by the way. I meet lots of people. But anyway, so they're asking me what I do. And I was like looking at my life, and I was like, my life doesn't suck, right? I'm like, I'm here. I'm teaching yoga. I get to travel all over the world. I get to meet people. I mean, think about what I do. I help people for a living. I help people achieve their financial goals. I help people, minimize taxes. I help people, guarantee their income for life. What's bad about that, right? The hard part about this business, I've overcome. And that's where's the next deal coming from. I have no angst. I have no anxiety about that at all. I fully am engaged in the process. Right? I'm fully engaged in simply, genuinely, authentically building relationships with people and helping them. And I trust that something good will come from that. Why? Because there's no way I'm going to talk to 5, 6, 7 people every single day and not have something good come from that. Right? So my life, I don't really work. Right? Like what is work? I'm in the business of building and maintaining relationships. So whether it be yoga, whether it be, playing with my kids, whether it be, going to a party or a dinner or a luncheon, I'm very involved in philanthropy as well. I have my own nonprofit, a basketball camp called Future Stars. I run for kids every summer. I sit on the board of 3 other, nonprofit organizations. So I'm very much, inclined to give back. But it's just relationships and relationships and relationships. I own 6 companies, right? So there's very little idle time, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Who's your hero?
Probably my mom, I would say. I mean, both my parents, look, my father is from Ghana, West Africa, and he came here, to further his education. He's a doctorate, has done well for himself. My mom, born into impoverished, Jim Crow South, picking cotton as a kid to make ends meet, and is a, high-ranking government, official working for Social Security Administration for over 47 years. And they've grown. And again, they're not, wealthy people by any means. But if you look at where they started to where they are now, they've done quite well. And they gave me that opportunity, right, to grow. Now, again, I didn't grow up with a trust fund. I think I had $100 in my checking account when I graduated college, but I've been able to amass, some wealth and create businesses and have a tremendous impact. And so it was the determination and the work ethic and the focus and the selflessness, that I saw from them that really inspired me. I don't put too much into people per se. I mean, I feel like I'm a rare breed, and to some degree, I affectionately call it the sickness, right? I cannot stop. I will not stop. There is not a number. There's not a trophy. There's not a designation that I can get that will get me off of this horse. You can write me a check for $100 million tomorrow and I will be at work the next day, right? That's how I'm wired. And so for me, the word that drives me, what I'm looking for right now is to have impact. I want to have the biggest impact on this planet, right? When I leave this earth, I want people to go, wow, Eszylfie Taylor changed his world. And that's what I'm about.
Who's your favorite person in history and why?
Here recently, I'm really enamored, but the 2 people, I think. One is Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King is interesting. And I didn't realize this when I was a little kid, but, he was a young guy doing big things, right? Like a young guy doing big things and had a positive outlook. It's like when you asked me how I was doing today, I told you it was the best day of my life. And that's what I say every day. So to maintain a positive outlook in the most dire of situations, I think is tremendous, right? So he's someone that I would aspire to be that character. And then also Barack Obama, coming off of 2 terms as president, and having the odds of anything stacked against him, looking at the amount of pressure and scrutiny you have in that position, and literally to be in that office for 8 years and really come out blameless, and forget your political affiliation, whether you're Republican or Democrat or independent, what have you, really get into that. But if you look at just the character of the man, right, and what he did and how he acts and holds himself, beyond reproach, I mean, that's also very impressive.
What is one thing that you recommend most to family, friends, or clients? This can be a book, it can be a saying, it can be a song, it can be a TED Talk. What do you got?
I think the one thing, common themes I would tell people is don't talk about it, be about it, right? I mean, people are always talking about what they should have done this, should have done that, should have done there, gone there, and then next thing you know, you should have all over yourself, right? And the idea there is it one day? Is it one day for you, or is it day one? Right? You decide, and so it's a matter of sticking your heels in the ground and just doing it. Don't talk about it, be about it.
Name one thing that most people don't know about you that's safe for podcasting.
What do people don't know? Oh, so you remember the novel written by Alex Haley in the 70s, Roots?
Yeah.
That miniseries in Roots Part 2, they had that scene where they hold up a baby in the movie. That was me.
No way.
Yeah, that was me. That was actually some of my best acting work.
Okay. You know what, Eszylfie, I've done this a lot, and that is the greatest answer to that question I've ever heard. That's freaking awesome. All right. So let's do our own call to action here, Eszylfie. I believe in the Taylor method. I've looked at stuff, Mark Rogers, who's a mutual friend of Top Advisor Marketing, yours, has talked a lot about you. I did my due diligence, as I always do, to prepare for these podcasts, but I want people to get involved with the Taylor method. So what is the best? I mean, you already said taylormethod.com, but if you were going to say, okay, ask yourself these few questions, and if the answer to these few questions is yes, then you need to go to Taylor Method and sign up.
So yeah, I mean, ask yourself, if 10 years from now, your career was in the exact same place it is right now, would you be happy? Would you be satisfied? And if your answer is, well, no, then you must do something different. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So what are you going to do different, right? You must change. And so I always say in life, you are green or you are brown. You are green or you are brown. You are growing or you are dying, right? So I think the Taylor method represents a place where people can grow and get better. We are ever evolving. I mean, I look at me today. I'm not a finished product. I'm going to be better in a year than I am today, without a doubt. I'll be better than in 5 years than I am a year from now, right? It's just this constant growth. And when you stop growing, you start dying. And that's the thing. It's the Taylor method isn't again, it's not about a product. It's not about buying, something from me. It's about growing. It's part psychological, right? It's part conceptual, and then it's part technical, and it's there for you to devour and take these tools, and most importantly, be able to integrate them into your practice right away and run with them. There's varying levels that you can get involved with the Taylor method. You can sign up for a basic subscription. You can actually be coached by me as well. And I found the people that have the greatest level of engagement with me have the highest level or greatest percentage of increase in their sales and productivity. I say to the tune of 25 to 50%. So when you look at it this way, right? Let's say Taylor method cost you, $200 a month. $200 a month. So here's my question for you, right? Are you willing to invest $6.50 a day into your business? Are you willing to invest $6.50 per day? What you're going to spend on a latte, right, and a bagel at Starbucks? Are you willing to invest that into your business? And the answer is yes. There's no reason that why you shouldn't go to the Taylor method, because here's my flat out. I'll put this out in public, public view right now. If you don't make more money, right, in the first week that you use my language than you would pay for the entire year for my system, take your money back. I'll give you a refund. But there's no way you say what I say and follow my methodologies and don't make money, don't get better. Not going to happen. The Taylor method only fails for people who don't use it. It's as effective as getting a gym membership and never going to the gym. That's why you're fat, right? But if you use it, if you employ these tactics and these concepts in my language, you will be better. You will make more money, without a doubt.
And with that, Eszylfie, thank you so much for the super fun podcast today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
All right, go to thetaylormethod.com and go ahead and sign up. Let's bring your practice to the next level. It's never too late. I love, is it, what did you say? Is it day one? What did you say?
Is it one day?
Or day one. Right. And guess what? It is day one. Day one means that something can start and you can start today. You can get this rolling. You can get your practice changed. You can just feel his energy. How many of you need to have more energy-giving people in your life? Everyone listening to this podcast needs more people who give them energy instead of take energy away. And I think that's one of the biggest benefits of listening to Eszylfie's system, looking at the Taylor method, is because you're going to leave energized and excited and even better prepared. So for everybody at the Taylor method, we just interviewed Eszylfie Taylor. Check out all of his stuff online. Make sure you connect with him on social media. If you are a financial services professional and you're looking for general agency, why don't you give him a holler? He does have a bunch of different businesses and other ways for you to engage in this overall philosophy, excitement, and energy. And we at Top Advisor Marketing think that all of you guys should be doing whatever you possibly can to take your business to the next level. So for Eszylfie Taylor, this is Matt Halloran. If you have not subscribed to the podcast, click that subscribe now button below. And even better, please just give us a second and rate it. We'd really, really appreciate that. If you know somebody who needs to hear this, make sure you click that share button below and tell them why they need to hear it. Hey, listen to this guy's energy. You need somebody like this in your life. So with that, we'll see you on the other side of the mic very soon.
Are you ready to change the way you communicate with your clients? Are you tired of being the best kept secret in your area? Learn how to become a prolific online influencer, attract more ideal clients, and grow your business. Contact us today and see what the power of podcasting can do for your business. Click on the Contact Us link on our website at topadvisormarketing.com and set up a call to learn more. Follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook for more updates and information.
This was brought to you by Iris.xyz, a platform helping financial professionals become better in business and life through new media and new voices. Visit them and learn more at Iris.xyz.